heart disease, lung disease. Speaking to those two specifically, this is not a this runs in my family. What runs in your family is a lineage of women who hold on to grief, bitterness, and resentment and never get an opportunity to express it. Those things, sadness, grief, bitterness, resentment, that is all the heart space. Holding on to betrayals. You know how many women have been betrayed and never been able to fully express their anger and their grievances around just being betrayed by somebody? All of those things eat at the heart, literally. So the lung issues, the heart issues, all of this is lineages of things that have not been expressed.
Welcome back to another episode of Women of Tomorrow. If you are new here, please take the moment to watch this video because Women of Tomorrow is a platform dedicated to the success and longevity of women worldwide. So do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back, Zen.
Can we take a breath?
Yes.
Reach across the damn Red Sea. This is as far as hell. I'm going to take a minute to just settle from the conversation that we were just having.
Yes. Thank you.
And let that energy just...
Thank you.
Here we go.
Well, now we're ready for our conversation.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Part 2, right? Like, how long it's been? About a year.
I was going to ask, was it this time 2024?
Like, it was January, I believe.
Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah. Because I had on long sleeves, so I'm like, it must have been cooler.
It was January. And you have a whole new look.
Girl.
Are we going to talk about it?
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm an open book. I was reflecting on that today. I was envisioning the self that came here whenever that was, honey, because really was it 2023? I don't even know.
I feel like it was 2024. It might have been December 2023, but I feel like it was 2024.
Okay. I was envisioning the self that came here and I was just like, who is that?
It might have been 2023 because I didn't have my locks.
I feel like it was the end of 2023.
Okay. So that's when it was because I got my locks October 2023. Okay. So it's 2023.
Yes. Just reflecting on conversations. I know we talked about some God things, even thinking about conversations about motherhood, thinking about the differences in me with my daughter, me as a mother, me as a healer.
Yeah.
And then you as well, honey. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey. Yeah. It's been great. It's been good. It's been so good. I have so much gratitude for the journey.
Yes.
Yeah, like even back then, I believe like it was after our first conversation on camera that I did some sessions with you, right?
You sure did.
I did some sessions with you.
Yes.
And those were amazing. Yeah, so much has changed. So much has changed. Wow. I think and even after those sessions and then the times that I would just, reach out to you. And I remember one thing that you said to me because I was asking about my spiritual walk and the more and more I was gravitating towards the spiritual seeking. And I was talking to you about family and friend relationships and how I kind of felt like I wanted to pull them in. And you said, you lead the way. You said, you do you, and they will follow.
Okay, so what has happened with that?
It just exactly that. Just exactly that. And I believe with those words, it was just confirmation. It was confirmation because I felt like okay, that's all I really needed to hear, you know? And, it was confirmation for me to just do me. And since then, yeah, like not so much that I'm doing me, waiting for them to follow, but more so just like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to let go of the expectation. I'm going to let go of the outcome. And I think that put me in just an energy, that was maybe inspiring.
You are so inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
You've been inspiring me this whole time.
You know how I feel about you. Now don't do it now.
What you saying that, it made me think about something that my mentor Althea just said in a conversation that we had the other day. She said that when you decide to make the change and when you are 10 toes down on making the change or whatever walk you decide to walk, everything around you has no choice but to fall in line. And we were talking about the spiritual path. We were just talking about how, you know, some people, they start to shift from like religious based ideologies and going into other things.
Yeah.
And I was sharing with her about how my family is so very Christian, but they also don't give me any lip. They don't give me any slack. They don't give me any judgment about the walk that I've decided to walk. And she was like, you know why that is? I was like, why? She said, because you real about it and you're not teeter-tottering. And so because you are so confident in what you decided to do and who you decided to be, like energetically, everything around you has no choice but to bend to your will in your world.
That's a powerful thing.
Yes.
That's powerful. It even makes me think about when people talk about in relationships, and some people wonder, like, how did this guy get this girl, and why are they attracted to each other? It's like you are attracted to the confidence. You're attracted to the, you know, the respect, self-respect, the self-love that someone exudes by living in their lane and not swaying.
Yes. I look at it as embodying whatever that thing is so deeply that you start to pull things into your orbit. Like I look at it as if like I'm a planet, and because I'm radiating this certain energy, I'm literally like pulling, attracting, and magnetizing everything that resonates with whatever this is into the orbit.
And you can't fake that, huh? Have you tried to fake that before? Like,
girl, I wasn't trying to fake it. I just was faking it. I just was, yeah.
I guess at the beginning, you kind of do fake it because you don't necessarily feel it or believe it or know it. So you're just...
It's like you wear the costume of it.
Okay.
So that's why I say I don't want to say that I was faking it.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, because I can't even think of a thing, but just before I felt confidently embodied in what I've decided to do with my life and my purpose and who I know I am. And it was like multiple conversations with ancestors, like, you know who the fuck you are? You know? Like, do I know? Like, you know? And so it was just that. So before the confidence like really dropped into the body, it was wearing the costume of it. It was like, well, what does it look like?
Yeah.
What clothes can I put on? What words can I adopt? What can I physically do to make myself feel like it?
And that's a starting point.
It is. That's why I say, I'm like, I don't want to say faking it. It's like you wear the clothes until
it
integrates.
The clothes is not what's gonna do it for you. That's not the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just the present moment. Speaking of like the look and the feel, like you're missing something.
Perfectly segues. Perfectly segues us into
missing,
I'm missing a head full of hair, honey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But you know what? That was part of it. And I'm glad that it's a telepathy, because I was thinking it and you went ahead and took us there. Prior to me cutting my hair, I was feeling like that. I was feeling like this is a look. it felt like this is actually a look. Like this isn't, the hair was cool. But as I was doing my research, because, you know, before we change a hairstyle, I'm on TikTok looking at what the bald girlies are doing. Because I knew what I was about. I knew what I was being called to do. And I was being called to do it for over 3 years.
Wow.
I had my locks for almost 9 years. So it's been a while where it's just been inching. And I had so much resistance to it because I was like, who am I without my hair? So when you say like faking it, for me, like that was the it. When I say like wearing the thing, like what's the look? I thought subconsciously, right? Because on a conscious level, I recognize that no matter what I look like, I am who I am.
Yeah.
But the conditioning was, as a woman, was for me was that hair makes you beautiful. And having locks made me be this spiritual Zen. And then who do I become? How does my audience view me if I'm no longer with the head wraps and the locks? Girl, I even just had a time about what I was gonna wear here today. I almost put on like a whole sari. But I was like, okay, I like my saris, but I'm not feeling that today. And it's just had been wanting to take off every accessory. The hair was an accessory. It was a look. It was tied to past versions. It was tied to like a timeline. It was tied to expectations, like who I thought I was supposed to be. And it wasn't until I let it go that I was like, oh shit, like I'm free. I'm free. So when we talk about faking it, for me, I literally had to strip. Of
you had to come back
everything,
to that empty vessel,
to bare bones. And when I like first shaved my head and looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, girl, you naked as hell right now. I was like, wow, you are naked. And I was like, I am naked. It felt so good.
And so you were in Thailand, right? When you did
Bali.
Oh, Bali. You were in Bali when you did it. And did you know when you went there that you were going to do it there?
Yes, but I had just found out.
Before you went?
I had just found out before I went. So like I said, girl, the hair thing has been a thing. It was literally causing me suffering. It was waking me up in the middle of the night.
Really?
Like, you need to cut your hair. And I was just like,
how long was it?
Years. So it started for me. I went to Barbados and did a month-long residency teaching pole in 2022. And when I went in 2022, like that was one of the first times, that was my first solo trip. Although I was teaching and I was working, that was my first solo trip. But it was also the first time I really just had 30 whole days to not be a mom, to not be responsible, to not do anything, but just be by myself. So when I say the spiritual activations were all the way live. And in that's where I was like receiving the messages of like, you know, you might have to let this hair go. When I say like, have you ever felt like a full body resistance, like you throwing a tantrum inside?
Yes.
That's how it felt. To the point where I was like, oh boy, you lying to me. I went outside, where I was staying, aloe was growing naturally. Girl, when I say my ass was outside every day, pulling up that aloe, cutting it open and putting it on my head, because I was like, my hair ain't falling out. What I need to do? Like, I'm like, nah, what I need to do?
You felt like it was going to happen regardless if you did it or not. Like you felt like you didn't have control at that point?
No, I did not. And that was the issue, is that it felt like it wasn't my choice. That's where the resistance was coming from, because it felt like I wasn't choosing. I kept hearing, you're going to have to let this hair go. And it was already falling. My hair started falling out after I had my daughter.
You did say that. I did see like a post. You said something about that it had for a while. You had been having like the hair insecurity.
It started falling out after I had her, but it was gradual. It was a gradual thing. But girl, by 2022, it was to the point where I couldn't wear it down anymore. I had to keep wearing it up. And even when saying I had to, that was what was getting me. That was what was eating me up, because it was like, damn, you are not confident enough to just wear your hair down. This is a trap. This feels like you are caged in. I was like, I can't even wear my hair how I want to. And it was like, you can, but you're not confident enough.
Not confident enough.
And that was eating me up. So in 2022, where it was like, you're going to let that hair go. I was like, no, I'm not. And I resisted and I resisted, and it just kept on like just gradually to by the time we were filming A Moment with Zen, the hair loss was starting to spread like to the back.
Okay.
And that's where I was just like, damn.
Wow.
I mean, of course you can't tell.
I couldn't tell.
Girl, I became a magician.
You were a magician, baby. And you know what? There's so many we are Black women. We are magicians. But just imagine how. I mean, you don't even have to imagine because you went through it. But just having to wear your hair up for years, because that's the only way that it felt right.
Yes, the last couple of months prior to me cutting it, it started to spread to the front. And that's where it got like, I stopped twisting it. When I stopped twisting it, when I stopped twisting it, the last time I twisted my hair, again, I had no intention of cutting it at that time, but I heard this is the last time that you will twist your hair. Because if I twisted it, you could see the loss. So I was just like, okay, fine. I'll just let it get puffy and I'll just brush it up. But when I say, like, I would be laughing to myself watching my hair start to fall out more, hearing this ha 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 ha, like, oh, you think you're not gonna cut that hair? We're about to make it unbearable for you. Unbearable. You think you're not gonna cut it? We're gonna make you cut your hair. And that was what I was fighting. Is it was like, it feels like it's not my choice. I feel like I'm being made to do this. I can't wear my hair how I want to. It was all of this. I can't. I'm trapped. I'm stuck. So, I went to sit with Althea for a Hape healing circle. It was my first time doing Hape, but when I did the medicine, it went straight up into the head, and all I heard were the voices in my head fighting about my hair. It felt like warfare. Like just one voice says it's one, and I was just like, everybody shut up. I was like, shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. Shut up. And so she came over and asked me, you know, like, what's happening? What are you experiencing right now? And I told her just about the internal battle that I was experiencing. She said to me, cutting your hair is a big deal. And it's okay if you feel that. Girl, I broke down. That was the kicker. I wasn't even letting myself feel the sadness over having to release it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Letting yourself feel it. Letting yourself feel it. That's so important.
And it was at the point, like, once I felt it and I cried, I went home and I sobbed, then I was like, okay. But before I left there, she said, I received a very clear vision for you. Before you leave here, come here and I'll tell you what it is. So I went and asked her, and she said, you will cut your hair.
That's what she said to you?
She said, you will cut your hair. She said, but you're going to do it on your own terms. And she said, when you cut it, you're going to have a bald head and big earrings. And she said, you're just going to be walking around so confident and flaunting. And she said, you are carrying, she said, who you were when you locked your hair is what is in your hair. She said, you are literally walking around carrying trauma on your head like a dead weight. She said, when you release that hair, you're not even going to recognize yourself anymore. And so I took it.
Yeah.
I received it. I went home. I cried. I let myself grieve.
Yeah.
And then I heard, when you cut your hair, give it to the water. That was November. I said, all right, when we go to Bali, I'm going to be at water. We're going to do it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
When it comes to locks, did you do research about that, about like how much energy is held in locks, and are locks something that you can cleanse, or do you have to always cut them? Do you know much about that?
I don't.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting for me because I was so accustomed to, my belief was like what I learned from the Bible, that your hair is your strength.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about like the locking process and how the hair, you literally like, like when it locks, it shrinks and it just
becomes more compact.
Yes, it compacts in there. So I didn't think about that until she was like, you're carrying it around. But it made sense to me. I feel that it's contingent on where a person is in their life when they lock their hair. Because some people lock their hair up on the tail end. I say the tail end. We're never done with a healing journey.
Yeah.
But say they lock it up like when they've released, a whole lot of trauma already. And now the locks are a renewal and there's strength being poured into the locks.
Yeah.
Versus me, girl, 9 years ago, I was in a real sunken place.
Yeah.
I was, hell, I had to pull myself up out the pits of hell in real life.
Body was releasing it for you. If you're saying that it was the hair loss, it was like, if you're not going to get rid of them, we're going to get rid of them.
Yes.
Your body was working.
Kayla, I did not even think about that.
Right? How life works for us.
Yes. I didn't even think, maybe it crossed my mind, but I didn't think about the depth of that, how my body was like, because the body is not going to do anything that you don't need. That is what I do know. The body's not going to do anything that you don't need. The body is a healer.
Yeah.
Of itself.
Exactly. That intelligence. Well, for me, I will say, like, no one else knows, but I did cut my sister locks off. I only had that set for a year. I got them in October 2024. And that was a time, this last year has been a time for me, so much discovery. I'm not going to pull my hair off right now. So don't think that that's
pull the wig off, sis. Show us. Pull the wig off.
Somebody, y'all will see when I'm ready. But I was saying that to say that we shared that moment when I don't know who you said it first, but you were telling me, you were like, I think I'm ready. And I was like, girl, I think I need to. And I know for me, somewhat of it is, I always like to change my hair. I always want to try fun, different things, but a part of it was definitely spiritual. And this last year, there was so much growth for me, and they didn't feel right. Now, if they come back, if I bring them back, then that's fine. But I was like, no, They were doing their own thing. They were acting up. Like, I was doing my best to keep it cute, but in the midst, in the back, and they were acting up. So for me, I'm like, I got them because it was one of those styles that it was easy and I could focus on the inner work that I was doing. I wasn't fussing with my hair. And then, once they started to be more of a struggle and then almost an insecurity, because I did not like what I was seeing from day to day, I was like, now they have shifted. And, I was nervous a bit because this is my second set of locks. People have said, you don't never keep no locks. You ain't keeping them. You always changing it. There's all these voices that were in my head that were what I heard as a judgment. And so I was even afraid to do it. But then I said, Kayla, you got to wake up every day and figure this out.
Yes.
And so I decided, I came back from Saudi Arabia the night. I landed at like midnight and I got home. I took the scissors and I did it myself. And I prayed as I cut the pieces off, and, I'll be ready to reveal it at some point. But it was one of those things. It was not, it wasn't something that I wanted to just like reveal and be like this shocking thing, but more so it's just like I've been feeling, I guess, free for sure, lighter, but also pleased with myself.
Yes.
Because it's like you did it because you wanted to do it. It felt right for you, and it was not about anybody else. So it's just me building up that inner confidence that says you can do what you need to do and everything is going to be what it needs to be. No one has to like it, approve, or anything like that.
It also, as I'm listening to you, it speaks to your willingness to let go. many people are not willing to allow themselves to be transformed, especially on their own terms and by their own hands. Many people wait for life or the universe to kick them in the ass.
Yeah, that's true.
And say, let go or be dragged, like in real life. So as I listen to you, like, listening to those voices that we're hearing that we're like, well, you never keep. It's like, I look at that. If we shift the frequency of that, I hear, girl, you are someone who is willing to let go. And intuitively when it's time to release.
Yeah.
And you don't need nobody else to tell you to let go. You don't need life to make you do it. We learn either by, Doc's, Candace's husband?
Yeah.
Said we learn either by inspiration or by desperation. And so that willingness to be like, intuitively, something's not right about this hair.
Yeah.
That inspiration versus allowing yourself to get to the point where it's like, I'm hearing it, I'm not listening, and now something happens, aka my body starts being like, girl, you ain't gonna let go, I'm gonna let go for you. So I love that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's even crazy because when my sister saw it, my sister has locks. She got her hair locked when I first got mine locked, so she's had hers about 5 years. The first set, and she was like, I was pissed at you when you cut your first set. I was like, how are you pissed about my hair?
Right.
And she's like, I knew you were going to say that. And it was kind of a joking, conversation. She was like, but I was here with you. I was here for you. I was dedicated with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, but the second time you got it, I was like, I knew you weren't going to keep it. But I think that that's another thing when you feel like you move according to what you feel other people see you as, and whatever maybe inner turmoil that you had. Well, they always used to call me sensitive. I don't want to come across sensitive, so let me do something that doesn't look sensitive, even though I'm sensitive. I need to be sensitive and live in that. And so that was one thing that I was able to acknowledge. Like, I did consider everybody else in my decision.
One of the best things that I have done for myself, for the people who say that they love me, and for my daughter, is to not live up to their expectations. It has been, when I say it's freed me and it frees them.
Break that down. Not live up to their expectations.
Not live up to their expectations, or even what I think they expect. Because often we're projecting an expectation. People probably have their own, people do have expectations, right? But we're not living in their mind day to day. So often we project this expectation, and really it's that mirroring. Like, this is who I know I used to be, and this is who I think you still see me as. So I'm thinking that you're expecting me to be who it's. It's just this constant mirroring. So for me, some of the best medicine that I've incorporated lately, one, I ask the people in my circle, don't expect. Because I know I am someone who continuously transforms. I thrive on change. My daughter is someone who's very fixed. She's slow to move. So even with her, of course, there are certain things, like I have conversations with her about how I know that as a mother, you need me to be predictable. And so I say, these are the areas that I can be predictable in. But I also tell her, honey, I'm like this. Like, I like to ship and I like to move. So it's helping her become more comfortable with change. And then also in the people that I love, the people that I'm close with, I have like these very intimate conversations with them about, hey, I know I don't necessarily we don't have to tell anyone that we're about to shift, or that a shift is happening, or that my energy is shifting. But out of love, it's like, this has been our dynamic, but something within me is shifting. And so I just want to create the space for us to talk about this, because with certain dynamics come certain expectations. I had a conversation with my business partner about how I felt some anxiety around the fact that I felt that I was changing, and I knew that our dynamic was going to shift because I could no longer be the person that existed inside of this dynamic. And so I told her I had anxiety around disrupting our norm. So that's what I mean by like the not living up to their expectations. For me, there's this thing that comes up when I know I'm about to disrupt what has become a norm. But that has been healing to my relationships. It's been medicine to my relationships because there comes a time where that norm no longer serves. And so becoming comfortable with how uncomfortable that feels internally for me, and then allowing them to be uncomfortable as well. Yeah. And then just holding space for the discomfort has been this just beautiful thing with just breaking away at the expectations.
Yeah. When with your business partner, how did that go? Like, was there several conversations or was there just like one big conversation that y'all just needed to marinate on it for a minute?
Oh, it was as with anyone, because my business partner is also a really close sister. Even if we never did business together, that's my girl.
Yeah.
So it's never just one conversation because it never only comes up one time.
Right.
Especially when it's shifting a whole entire dynamic and not even like, yes, shifting the way that we work together, which, you know, that honestly is the more easeful part. Like, it was easy to shift the way that we work together. The difficult part was shifting the way that, for me, shifting who I had been. So that means shifting who we are. And so in that, it's like, because I'm shifting, we have to shift. You have to shift. So it was like there were multiple conversations because then triggering would come up because it's new. And it's like, what is this? What is this that you're being? What is this that you're doing? And not from a place of like, what is this? But it was like, yeah, this is different. And it was, I'll say for me, it was allowing my body to adjust to the new frequency. For me, it's like a body adjustment. Almost like I have to step into the new, physically be in the dynamic differently. So allowing my body to adjust to whatever our frequency shift is now. And all of this comfort was just like the lower vibrational static that needed to leave the relationship.
You saying the comfort?
The discomfort.
The discomfort.
Yeah, all the discomfort that comes up. It's like this is just the things that actually don't need to be present, and you're really feeling them really heavy right now.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, like, I remember, it just made me think of a moment with Zen. And I remember you saying, you made a post or a story, something about like, I hadn't even been checking on it. I haven't been looking to see, you know, how much it's growing or the views and things like that. How has that experience been for you after, you know, having your vision, creating it, putting it out there? What has it taught you? What has it shown you? How do you feel about being in that space now?
Honestly, it's surreal. And I don't know if I just give you thanks enough. I want to like reach across the Red Sea and grab your hand again. Can we just like swim the Red Sea? I don't know if I just give you thanks enough for that, Kayla, because it's surreal. As we were filming it, it was happening. Yeah. And I was present with it. And I didn't really know. Everything in the moment. Be fun for me. Yeah. So I'm in the moment. It's fun. I'm not thinking about the impact. Yeah. But it's still, I have not quite adjusted to the multitude of people that say, that's my favorite podcast. Wow. The multitude of people that say, I listen to you on the way to work. I listen to these all the time. When are you going to have more? Are there more episodes? I keep repeating these same episodes. I found you here. I found you on Women of Tomorrow. I have not adjusted to, when someone says it, I don't know how to receive it. when they say how impactful it is, because that was like a release of perfectionism. Even now, as it's hard to go and listen.
Is it?
It's hard to listen because I'm not there anymore.
Okay.
And I hear where I was versus where I am. And, you know, so I'm like,
is it a cringe?
Healer ears, healer ears. The perfectionist that comes through be like, oh. Yeah. But, you know, then I go into compassion for self.
Yeah.
But also understanding that people needed those messages exactly the way that I delivered them. And
Absolutely.
I knew that they would.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to outgrow my own messages.
Yeah.
But I knew people would need them.
Because aren't you glad you outgrow your own messages?
Honey, we need to outgrow our messages. We need to. So, you know, for me, it was just this, like, it was a deeper grounding into presence, and also understanding that whatever I said then is valuable. That's what I needed to learn for me. That whatever I had to say, even if it only reached 2 ears, that it had value. Like, I was, at that time that we were filming, I was just working through deep self-worth. Although I had the platform already, although you saw me and you were like, yes, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Although the people were like, we want it, I still wasn't receiving it. It was like a block that I could not see that what I had to offer was valuable. So after that, I still didn't see it. But yeah.
You knew. So oftentimes it's like it was just it was so purposeful, but it wasn't like, it wasn't an ego thing for you. It was very much so like, I remember you specifically saying, you know, people need therapy, and this is going to be my way to give them these nuggets of therapy until there's another way, or, you know, and that's exactly what it has been. And you probably still don't know how to feel about it because it just came through you. It wasn't.
It's literally nothing in here. Like, there is nothing happening in here as we talk about it, because even in preparation every single day, like before we filmed, I'm praying.
Yeah.
I literally was like, what am I supposed to talk about today? Every single episode. And it's funny because prior to doing it, you asked me to send you episodes.
Yeah.
And I sent you episodes, and we did none of those.
We didn't do that.
We did none.
Those weren't the same ones.
We did none of what I sent you. Because as soon as we got here, it was like,
it was always a shift.
It was pray. What needs to be said today? And even as I was filming, I could feel the emotions of the people who were watching on that specific episode when whoever would see it.
Wow.
So what I was supposed to say, I couldn't even take notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like whatever needed to be channeled, just channeled through.
Yeah. You were just saying something about healer ears or healer mind. I spoke about this recently in the episode with, Chef Aki, and we talked about the healers needing some time, or I don't know if that's the right word, but just, it is incredibly dense, right? The healers are dealing with so much density when they're in the presence of people who have a lot of work that they're doing.
So when you say in the presence, you mean like when they're actually holding space, or just in the presence?
When you're holding space, when you're showing up, when you're holding space, and you're, I guess, digging in with them.
Yeah.
And we were kind of just talking about some of the healers. You know, when the healer passes, we're like, but how? They were so evolved and they were so healthy, and we're just not expecting. We're like, as if life, you know, they're supposed to just be here forever. And they are, but in the physical, it's like, but I noticed that some of the healers, the elders, they start to get a little pissed off. Like their energy gets a little bit snappy. And for me, I know that it's snappy, but I laugh at it because I can relate to years and years of wanting to help people and people not listening, people not hearing, people coming back and forth, and just you know, I can imagine I don't know. Is it heavy? Does it frustrate you? Where are you in your journey as a healer, dealing with the masses who some say they want to do the work, and some really do it?
Okay. I had to listen for how that question wanted to be answered. So first, I want to speak on like the elders being snappy.
I love a snap because for me, the way I receive it is I want to be snapped on sometimes, because sometimes it needs to click for me and I don't hear it until it's like a shake.
Yeah. What I'll say, what came to me in regards to that was, it makes me think about an energy that I'll drop into when working with people. I'll say, for me as a healer, I know that I'm working with the spirit of the person, or I'm working with the spirit, or with whatever spirits are present with this person, not necessarily the person.
Okay.
That's something that I had to learn. So, and it's something that I have to continue to remind myself of. So for me, like when an actual attitude comes up, it's the aspect of me that needs to remind myself that you need to talk to the spirit. The attitude is typically with the person, right? And so I have to remind myself that I need to talk to the spirit. So so I'll say, like, thinking about when you said like elders be snapped, like they get a little bit snappy. Sometimes I'll say, from my experience, I've had to speak to the spirit in a certain way, because some people can look through you and see what I'm actually talking to. It's like, I might be talking to you, but I'm not talking to Kayla. Sometimes it's like, I'm talking to that spirit.
Yeah.
And so that spirit needs to be talked to very firm.
Yeah.
So, it might feel as if, people might take it personal and be like, oh my God, it's like, no, I'm talking to that spirit and it hears me and it knows. So that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else did you ask?
I was just wondering, how do you keep from just being covered, smothered, drowning in the work?
Because I am my primary focus.
Okay.
My life and my work is my primary focus.
Yes. That
is something that I love to see, that so many healers are coming to, that this work is not supposed to be self-sacrificial. And I think that a lot of healers get burned out when they aren't taking care of themselves, when they start to sacrifice. At the end of 2024, I was burnt the hell out. I didn't realize the level of self-care that I needed. I didn't realize what my self-care looked like. I'll say that. I knew that I needed care, and I'm doing my spiritual hygiene. I'm doing my cleanses. I'm holding space for myself. I'm making sure that I am an empty enough vessel to even hold the work. That's another thing. If a healer is not prioritizing her healing, her or their healing, then you don't have space to hold. And so in that case, that's where you might see some attitudes come up, and you might see a lot more ego come up, because baby, you don't even have this space to hold. Yeah. So I get more attitudinal, snappy, my teenager, the inner grandma, like that ornery grandma comes up when I have not been caring for myself. So I know that there are many healers who don't understand the level of care that you have to give yourself. You can't be just running from work to work, from person to person, from ceremony to ceremony. You can't do it. Yeah. You have to take that time to release. And then also, just depending on the type of healer that you are, you're touching people and you're picking up things. Especially for someone who has such an open heart, who might just be very receptive to energy. You walking around, you're touching, and your heart is so open, you have no boundaries, and you're just, I'll take your pain. I feel it. I know that so many healers that are like that, and it's because their heart is so open. But now there's an even extra level of care that's required for you to even be a proper vessel to do the work. So I'll say, like, you'll see more healers being burnt out when they aren't caring for themselves. And for me, like I said, I've been doing all the spiritual hygiene stuff.
Yeah.
Here, I will get in there. I will mix up the herbal baths or herbal baths. I will hold the space and do all the things. But what I was not doing was playing. My care is play. And I was not allowing myself enough time to just play and to be outside of even like I cut off my one-on-ones. I closed my books because I knew that I needed some space.
Yeah.
But what I was still doing was showing up inside of my community. I'm showing up online.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like that still was taken in, answering the DMs, like all of that is part of it.
Yeah.
So I had to take that time to be like, all right, everybody just shh. I'm about to go play.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I did that I felt rejuvenated, that now I can go back and serve. And now y'all not getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to say that I don't care. I care so much that I can't attach to so many people who say they want the healing and don't. It's like the medicine is here. If you ain't gonna take it, somebody will. Let me pay attention to the people who will take the medicine. I'm not begging nobody to take no medicine. There's somebody for you who speaks the way that you need to hear it, who delivers it the way, who wants to go on the street and, hey, y'all, we got the medicine. That's not me.
Yeah. Two things just came up for me. And before we get into, we do have some talking points. But before we even just get into that, I have two things that just came up. Please let me remember both of these. For the average person, the person who's not a healer, but the person who may have an open heart, empath, someone like myself. I was recently in a sister circle, and was happy to be there. I wanted to have that experience, and everything was great while I was there. When I got home, I almost felt nauseous. And I was like, well, what's going on? I didn't eat nothing. Nothing changed. I'm okay. I didn't get into it with nobody. And I realized, I said, I got something from all that energy in me, on me. And how would you say, what is one way of either cleansing that, or for someone, the average person who's just an empath, who's just in crowds or around people, how do you create a bubble for yourself before entering into spaces, or either just cleansing after those spaces? Yeah.
So before I even knew what any of this was, intuitively, I would envision myself inside of a box. And I would say nothing that I don't give permission to can enter this box. And only my energy can leave. Only the energy of love that I'm sending out, or, compassion, that can leave, but nothing that I don't give permission to can enter. I didn't even know what I was doing. This was me working in corporate, sitting at my desk and just intuitively did that. So something like that is what people can do.
That's kind of like affirming what you want. Okay.
And you're revoking permission, because when you are open and you don't, when I say don't have a boundary, it's like, but there's an aspect that's just so open. I don't know how to better say it. You are just very open. And when there is no boundary set, then energy that seeks reconciliation will try and find somewhere to go. And sometimes, like, I'm really being careful about my words.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will attach to an energy field that has the capacity to soothe it or reconcile it. So that happens. Yes. And so in some spaces, especially in healing spaces, it's really important to revoke permission.
Okay.
And, a lot of times, as healers that are women, there's an innate mothering energy. And even if it's not a conscious thought, it can just be that compassion that you send out. You feel it. You know it. You're drawn to it. And that's just like, without that revoking of permission of it coming in, it opens you up. And it's like, oh, baby, come here. I'll soothe it.
Yeah.
without you even having to say it. So,
baby, I be giving hugs without even knowing.
girl.
Okay.
So that's what the protection aspect, or the, you know, the revoking the permission. And then for the cleansing of it, a very simple thing someone can do is take a sea salt bath.
Okay.
Whenever
sea salt bath.
You can get sea salt, or even better, magnesium flakes. They sell. You can get a bag of magnesium flakes from Amazon.
Yeah.
The magnesium ion pulls the girl, don't get me to talking wrong. It interacts in some type of way with the metals in the body, and it energetically pulls it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. That's great to know, because that's something I have definitely been into my self-care in those ways, because I know it's a timeline shift happening, but it has been realer than real. Like, after the LA fires, I was hearing everyone's stories and some people that we know, and I was just taking it in, because for me and the communities that I'm a part of and that I learned from, I'm not surprised about what is going on. It's not like I'm like, oh, what's happening? It's like I've had some lessons to kind of see that this was gonna happen. So I'm just taking it in. I'm praying. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine. But later that night, I could not sleep. Once again, I felt nauseous, and I'm just like, oh. And this one gospel song I clicked to on Instagram, I had posted it, and then I looked at my story, and it just, I ran, I got up, went to the bathroom, and was just like, almost like violently crying. And the cries came out, and I prayed for everyone, and I thanked, you know, the Most High. And I did that for about close to 10 minutes, just nonstop. And it just kept coming out. And that was really cleansing for me but just also I was grateful that I was able to identify this nausea that you're having is not because you ate something. It's these emotions. It's this energy.
It's ready to purge.
It's got to come out.
Yes.
And that's something that I want anyone to learn how to do in these times. Crying it out, sea salt bath, magnesium flakes, just letting it out, because it's serious right now. It's heavy. Oh, well, I have one more thing that you said. And I feel like I talk about this all the time, probably because I am still learning how to truly embody it. But I think it is so important. When I was asking you about your healing and making sure that you don't drown in the work, and you were like, well, I am my priority. My work is my priority. I'm my priority. And I was just having a conversation with a family member, and she was talking about her sons, and she was like, I just want to make sure that, they have everything, and that they're, she was prioritizing her children, which is beautiful, right? However, I wanted to remind her that one of the greatest gifts that you can give your children is them watching you prioritize yourself.
Is a happy mother.
A happy mom.
A happy mother.
Peaceful, at ease, play, fun, self-care, self-love. Because as much as they see you doing for them, they may interpret that as, I must always perform.
That is exactly how they interpret it. Maybe not every child.
Yeah.
But from what I've witnessed and in my own upbringing, that is exactly. The child doesn't take it as, oh, my mom is so amazing. She's doing things for me. And so that means I take care of me. They're like, my mom is showing me how to behave with the people that I love. And it's twofold. My mom is showing me to take care of the ones that I love, but she's also showing me that I come second. That's what I learned.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to bring this up. How important is it to embody someone who puts themselves first all the time? And sometimes putting yourself first means taking care of someone else, right? Because it feels good. It feels easeful. It feels important. It feels like a priority to you. But how does that how do you see that working? What can you lend to that?
So I'll say I want to speak to you saying like sometimes putting yourself first means taking care of someone else only if you have an overflow. Only if you have taken care of yourself and filled your cup up so much that you've got so much to give, is it no longer self-sacrificial? And then it's not a question of whether I'm putting myself first or not.
I've already done it.
I've already done that. And so I have so much to pour from my well that it feels like I'm missing nothing. Now that's true generosity. That's when you actually can give from the heart. And it's like that higher vibration of giving. But I'll say for me as a mother, girl, I put myself all the way first. My daughter sees that, and so much to where she's a damn brat. Like, she sees it so much that she puts herself first.
Wow.
She puts her preferences above all. She puts her needs above all, but it's because she models her mother.
Yeah.
But, you know, in that's where I had to start to bring in some balance.
Okay.
As well, and speak to her about consideration. But then I had to start to model consideration, model collaboration within our household, model you do a little bit, I'll do a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also model, baby, these are my boundaries. There are times where I'm sitting at the altar praying or meditating and she just come in. So I told her, if I'm sitting at the altar, please don't interrupt me. I said it nicely because she's a softie. So I, of course, say things really nice or kind, rather.
Yeah.
I was like, don't interrupt me, or I would appreciate it if you would just wait until I'm done, unless it's an emergency. So what she started to do, she wouldn't interrupt me, but she just come and stand there. I'm like,
that's defeating the purpose. Now I'm feeling it.
And I literally be like, just like cracking up. So then I had to say, when you stand there, I can still feel your energy. So if it can wait a minute, can you just, give me a moment? So in consideration, what I started to do was before I go to the altar, I ask her, are you hungry? Do you need me? Do you need anything? And then let her know I'm about to go.
Yeah.
And XYZ. So I had to learn how to demonstrate to her that it's all right to have boundaries. I even tell her, tell me how you feel about me. We have an agreement that's on the refrigerator. And I asked her, what behaviors of mine don't you like? Well, I don't know. I'm like, girl, I'm not perfect. So I know that there are things that you don't like.
Yeah.
And so she told me, I said, well, these are the things that I would like to see change. So in like the modeling of the self-care, I had to learn that it's modeling that. It's modeling everything, modeling fairness, modeling equity, modeling boundaries, modeling collaboration, everything. Otherwise, we do exactly what we see the mother do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, because that was powerful. When it comes to small children, and the argument is, you have to be their everything. How in those moments does a woman put is that where the village comes in? Is that where it's like you need that village at those ages specifically, so that, because you are still a human, you still need to stay alive, you need to still stay healthy, and that's where the village comes in?
Girl, you need the village at every age.
At every age.
A woman should not have to mother alone. Never. It is not natural. It is actually very unnatural and very cruel for a woman to have to raise a child alone. It is destructive to her nervous system. And in that, it's destructive to the child because the child's well-being is based off of the mother's happiness, the mother's true happiness.
Yeah.
Because as a mother, like if you aren't happy, when I'm not well, my child can tell I'm not well because I have nothing to give her. I have absolutely nothing. And what I do give when I'm not well is out of obligation, and not even speaking the mother to child. You have a partner. Yeah. Partner to person. You can tell when someone's doing something out of obligation for you. Children are very intelligent. We all are. Yeah. Versus doing it out of love. So imagine what that does to like a mother-child dynamic, a person-person dynamic, when they don't have that village there to pick up what they literally aren't even built to do.
Yeah.
Like my mother and I had a conversation about how my child couldn't be her child, but her and my child are very alike. I'm like, the granddaughter is like the grandmother. But we had a conversation about how it was necessary for me to be the mother, for her to be the grandmother, because there are just certain things where she picks up the pieces. My younger sister picks up the pieces. My daughter's father's father picks up the pieces. My daughter's father's mother picks up the pieces. There are, and then I'm like, I need to find her a counselor.
Okay.
Because there are just certain things the mama is just not meant to do.
Yeah.
And I know that, honey, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm leaning on my village real hard.
Real hard.
And I deserve that. And so that's what it is. Like, a lot of women don't recognize you deserve
it.
A village, mother or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mother or not.
Yeah. I think that is a big thing that we have gotten so far away from, the village mentality. I was just telling my mom, I said, honestly, I just want a big old house with 15 rooms, and we can just, like, why are we all paying different mortgages? Why are we all paying different rents? All paying something different, stressed out, rat race.
Girl.
Why? We have been driven so far away from the village mentality that really just nurtures and nourishes us.
It's been this, is it hustle culture?
I think hustle culture, I feel like is newer, but yeah, it is.
Is it capitalism?
It's capitalism. Yeah. And which is it's all together. It's capitalism. I believe that's the root. It's the industrialization of this land, where every natural resource has been taken and, what do they call it? Isolated and then made into a commodity that we have to pay for.
I also say it's the selling of the American dream as well.
Yes.
It's like it's the single family home situation. Because I was like, Mom, we need a compound because I need you.
Yeah.
I need you. My daughter's dad's parents have been thinking about moving to Houston, and they haven't left because I'm like, I need you.
Yeah.
I can't,
Absolutely.
I could do it without them, but I'm like, I don't want to do it without you.
And it's better to not do it without them.
My sister friend, she was like thinking about buying a house closer to me. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Because she has a son. I'm like, please, let's help each other. We need it. It's unnatural to do it the way that we've been doing it.
The way we've been doing it. And that's a lot of where a lot of the suffering is coming from. Okay, we solved it. now it's just about putting it in the universe and really creating that, because I deeply desire for that for myself and for everyone around me is for those villages.
Girl, it's here. The fact that you're speaking it, and even just looking at the work that you're doing, I wanted to go back to you saying that you're not a healer. That is not true. That is not true.
Not true?
That's not true. Oh. You might not be laying hands. You might not be laying hands, but your medicine, to me, you speak to your own medicine, but I'll say what I see. Your medicine is curating these spaces and having all of these people on your platform, and the amount of reach. I think last year when I looked at your page, were you like 50 something thousand?
At some point, yes.
You were like, I went back, I was like, damn, Kay.
I'm almost at 100.
I know.
Yes, let's go.
And it's like that. To me, that is your medicine. That's the way that you are delivering your healing, is by creating a place for people to be heard. It's like, how will people be heard without the broadcast?
Yeah.
You are like the megaphone, allowing the voices to speak through, but they are not heard without the megaphone. So you are so necessary. You are a healer.
Thank you. I'm grateful. I am grateful. I'm grateful. That's all that I can say. And I'm glad we're having a part 2, because this feels really good.
Did we even get to which one of them talking points?
Okay, no, we're about to, because we kind of did talk about exhaustion and burnout.
Yeah,
We did.
You did. Yeah.
Now, this stood out, resistance to change. We kind of talked about that when we addressed, you letting go of your hair, that resistance to change. But I will bring this up, that it's that resistance to change is happening across the board with so many people. Often change is associated with loss or giving up. Like, oh, I failed, because why would I have to change this? I was already on this path. And then I was even speaking to my mother. My mother probably going to be like, girl, you always bringing me up. But I'm just like, this is my experience. My mother, it has been really desiring to remove emotional blocks, to see herself and to see the world differently. She was raised in an era where it was about accomplishing and performing and staying away from poverty. And she's way past that now, but she still lives that way. And she really wants to be able to accept rest as something that she deserves. Yeah. And that is something that is a part of life. Like that is progress to rest, right? Yes. So it's a big thing. The resistance to change. And what do you feel about that?
Okay, so many things. Yeah. I'm gonna try and
Yeah.
One, in regards to like you speaking about your mother wanting to accept rest as a part of life. So many women give themselves a hard time with not being able to rest. But think about the lineages of women before them who were not able to rest.
Yeah.
And so not resting now becomes a way of life because your mother hasn't rested. Your grandmother, your grandmother's mother, then that, and then more, then more, then more, then more. We don't know how far back these lineages of women have not been allowed to rest. Rest at some point was deadly. Rest at some point meant your family didn't eat, that your kids didn't have food on the table, that poverty was a reality.
Yeah.
If you took the time to rest. So think about now the lineages of DNA that are ingrained, I'm going to say specifically in the bodies of women of color.
Yeah.
Where rest actually equaled poverty. So your mother having that as a thing for her is not by chance. It's real.
Yeah.
At some point, that was an ancestor's reality. And so what's happening right now, I'll say I can only speak to I know that this is in the collective period, but I can only speak to the people that I work with, which is mainly the feminine collective. And what I've seen is so much of the things that are coming forth, like these changes that are desiring to be made because we are in different times now.
Yeah.
But a lot of that resistance is coming forth because there are these ingrained fears it's not even their fear. It's the ancestors' fear. It's the pattern. It's in the DNA. So this, I don't know how to rest. I really want to. What's going on? It's the things that are asking to be healed. You can imagine that there's an ancestor that's stepping forth and coming into the vessel and walking the story. Like the story is yours, but then you've got all of these other foremothers that are coming forth, and not in a way to drag you through it, but in a way that says, I'm giving you this. I'm giving you these experiences. Feel this, because the way to heal through it is to feel it. And I need you to walk this walk in order to free our lineage of this. So then again, speaking to your mother, with her having that, your mother, you speak to the experience of so many women with wanting now to tap into their feelings again. Being emotional was deadly. There was no time.
There was no time
to feel. It was doing. It was survival. So again, now we're in a reality where that's not the case. But it's ingrained.
It's ingrained.
So a lot of that resistance to change is this ingrained fear that says, what happens if I feel? What happens to me if I actually give myself space, is it okay? What does that even look like? Do I go out of control? What will others think of me? It's all of this. What I have come to is that it's truly a fear of feeling. Just feeling, period.
Yeah.
Not knowing. And then the body not knowing what's going to happen to it. Because there's so much that's just like compacted. And we're in a space and time where the veil between worlds is real, real thin. So I'll say for myself, as I started to feel a whole lot of things. I started to feel lineages of things coming through me. And when it first started to come, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, everybody calm down. Everybody slow down. Like,
not everybody.
It's like literally everybody calm down. But there's so much that has not been felt. So I'll say, just going into, keep bumping this microphone. Now we are in a time where the way forward, the way to prosperity, the way to happiness, the way to joy, the way to just grounding is to learn how to feel. And to learn how to feel, first you have to give yourself permission to feel. To give yourself permission to feel, first you've got to slow down long enough for whatever it is to come up. And for those who are like, I've slowed down, I've stopped doing the things, I'm trying to rest, I'm still not feeling. Some people don't know what they feel. And so if you don't know what you feel, whatever is coming up, you write it down. Read it. That's interesting. And that's a release in itself. It's also giving yourself the space to express in any way, shape, or form. A lot of women, especially I'll say women of color, have been given the angry Black woman stereotype.
Yeah.
So they're afraid to even express grievances because I expressed a grievance and now that means that I am this. Or there's the positivity culture that says it's all love and light. So if I express grievances, then I'm giving the negative energy a space to exist.
Yes.
But you can't have the light without the dark.
Yeah.
And so what I have noticed is what is necessary in order for people to start to be able to actually feel. They got to start being willing to express, and that's express whatever. But then, like I said, just wrapping it up there's a fear of what happens when I express it, because how will I feel when I express it? How will they feel when I express it? How will I feel about what they feel? It's all of this, like, all of that just muddied up in it.
That mirroring kind of goes back to what you were saying. You're either going to change through inspiration or desperation. And so you're either going to get so tired of caring about all that, what ifs, and you're just like, this has to change or I'm gonna die.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. This has to change or I will die. People don't understand, like, heart disease, lung disease.
Yeah.
Speaking to those two specifically, this is not this runs in my family. What runs in your family is a lineage of women who hold on to grief, bitterness, and resentment and never get an opportunity to express it. Those three things, sadness, grief, bitterness, resentment. That is all the heart space. Holding on to betrayals. You know how many women have been betrayed and never been able to fully express their anger and their grievances around just fucking being betrayed by somebody?
Yeah.
All of those things eat at the heart, literally. So the lung issues, the heart issues, all of this is lineages of things that have not been expressed and have not been given space to feel. So now you go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Now you've got recurrent pneumonia. You got a collapsed lung because you are not allowing yourself to, or you don't feel safe enough. That's the importance now of the healers to create spaces that are safe enough for people to lay their grievances at the altar.
And so while when you have these physical ailments and you're running to the doctor and you think it's about, oh, let me stop smoking, let me stop eating this. Yes, do all that. However, realize that this is a spiritual, emotional, this is like beyond that. It's beyond that.
Okay, so then let me give you this, because someone will say, well, this is a thing that causes like they'll say smoking causes the disease.
Yeah.
Or the food causes the disease. Why do you think you want to smoke?
To relieve that pain, that discomfort.
Why do you think you want the food?
Comfort food.
It all goes back to the emotional nature. Comfort food is great, but I'll say for someone like myself who continues to empty, I don't want that stuff. I don't have the cravings for it because there's nothing that I'm needing to soothe. And so I crave whole foods. Girl, I went to Whole Foods and made a salad today. I tell you, I was like, I was like, literally when I opened the salad, I was like, lettuce and greens. I started singing, lettuce and greens, lettuce and greens. And just,
did you really start singing?
I really started singing lettuce and greens. I was like, no, this need to be a song. But it's like nothing, like I don't have things that stick within me. And when I do want sweets, I know something's going on with my heart. When I want something heavy, I know something's going on with my heart. So that's like okay, you say it's a thing, but the emotion is what's making you even want the thing that's not healthy.
Wow. Okay. All right. And we did talk about learning to feel. We just talked about learning to feel.
That was on the list?
Yeah. Learning
Girl, them cars be knowing. Them cars be knowing.
Okay, and so I'm going to stay on topic and just hit a couple of more things. And that is, we're going to stay on change because we said resistance to change.
Yes.
We kind of tapped on the heart, but it's speaking of caring for your heart in the process of change. And I think it ties into the grief that comes with change.
Yes. We are like telepathic right now. So someone in my community, yesterday asked, how do you grieve while you're on your healing journey? She said, in my mind, grief and healing are two different things. And what I gave her is the grief is the healing. Allowing yourself to grieve and to feel is you're ushering out the old and you're bringing in the new. The grief is so in line with with the death process. And how does something die without it being felt? Like the grief is the feeling of the death. It's like the leaf got old and now that crackle, hearing the crackle, the act of the leaves falling off the trees in the fall, we can look at that as an act of grief. Like the time between when the leaf detaches from the tree and it reaches the ground. That is our grieving process. And in that is such a healing process because you are freeing your heart of releasing whatever it is.
It ties back into what you were saying earlier, is being able to sit with it. And you were saying like, it's not all love and light. Allowing yourself to sit with what is and not trying to rush yourself through like, oh, I don't want to feel this way, or, oh, I don't want to identify with this. But at the same time, you acknowledge it.
Yes. Anytime I catch myself saying, I don't want to feel this, I know I'm resisting. Like for me, those are my words when I'm like, I don't want to feel that. I'm literally telling my body, I don't want to feel that. And the body's like, okay, I'll just tuck it in there even more deeply. Right. You're literally saying, I don't want to feel. So yes, it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Feeling it, but the grieving process, one, is not linear. So it's allowing whatever is coming up in your heart to just continue to come up. You might feel okay one day and then the next you're back in the grief. And it's like, okay, I had to learn, girl, I had something and I don't know, I'm going to just go with what's coming because it left.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
But For my own processes, I recognize that what I grieve most is my expectation of what I thought it would be. It's when I have to let people go, I'm grieving the dynamic because I recognize that people are souls. It's the spirit. I'm grieving the energy. I'm grieving the storylines that I created. I'm grieving the idea because relationships live in our mind. Everything that we create really lives in our mind unless it's like physically right here in the right now.
Yeah.
So I had to realize you're grieving what you're created. And so in that, just helping myself usher out. And there will even be times where I'll sit and journal what I thought it was going to be. Burn it up. Like, for real. It's a ritual. This is what I wanted from this. Because again, it goes back to that expression. Why people hold on to the grief so much, they're not expressing everything that they desired from that. And the fact that you were disappointed, it fucking matters. Disappointment is another feeling to feel. It matters that you were disappointed. It's all right. Like, it matters that you cared so much.
Acknowledge that for yourself. If anything. That's what I've been doing that. That's crazy that you say that because I've had to do that. I'll be like, Kayla, okay, well, yeah, you were disappointed. Okay, you were disappointed. Yes, you were disappointed, girl. Like, as much as you have even shame, I'm even embarrassed that I was disappointed because my disappointment to me means that I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. And maybe that means I didn't deserve it. All those things.
But even when you say embarrassment, it's like, damn, I'm embarrassed. You feel the embarrassment and literally it leaves. It's like,
that's true.
I'm embarrassed. Damn. Allow, like, giving yourself permission. Women are not giving themselves permission to feel the full spectrum of feeling. And I'll even go into envy and jealousy. Won't even like give yourself permission to be envious. It doesn't mean that you have to hold on to it, but it's like you won't admit to yourself for you to move past the envy. You won't admit to yourself that that feeling is present, that you see something that another woman is doing, being, and something about that you wish you had. And so now you're creating stories about yourself in your mind, not understanding, baby, that's envy. And we've all felt it. We've all felt it at some point. But what comes out is, I don't care. I don't care. Is what comes out. It's like, it's okay. It's okay.
There is so much medicine in just acknowledging it, being honest with yourself. And like you said, the moment you acknowledge it, it'll leave.
It opens the door.
It opens the door.
Yeah.
And you get used to it, and then it just starts just like disappearing. The moment you're like, okay, that's what that was. Because you don't have to tell yourself any extra stories. You don't have to keep telling yourself, well, is it this or is it, or why is it? It's just like acknowledge it and then let it flow out.
That is like, that's the resistance that we've been talking about. It's when a feeling comes in. But because this isn't a feeling that you're familiar with, I'll say that sometimes a person might not have words or language to give the feeling. But 2, when there's just a lack of acknowledgement of the feeling. And so now to cover up for the fact that you're feeling something and you don't really want to feel whatever that is, now this aspect of you starts to build narratives on top of it. That in itself is like, that is literal resistance. Building narratives on top of it when you can just be like, damn, I'm feeling this thing. I'm really disappointed. But, you know, on like the far end of it, this person did this and this person did that and they're this and they're that. And you're just making up stories. They did this and this, where it's like, actually, you are very disappointed right now. This is your disappointment trying to speak through you. This is your frustration trying to speak. And when you're done doing that, let's talk about your frustration so you can finish. And get to the other side of it.
I love ending on that note of what you just said. It's time to let go of the resistance. It's time to let go of the resistance. And I think that is powerful in itself. I want you to just tell the people what you have going on. I know you have an amazing online community. I know you are still working with groups and things like that. Tell everyone what you have going on, how they can find you, what you have next, or what right here.
Right here. Okay, so I have 2 communities. The Awaken and Align Tribe, which is a free community for anyone, any creed, any color, any identity, just seeking a safe space to receive guidance, to share your stories, to commune with others who, I promise y'all, have very parallel journeys. I do a live Q&A in there every Monday at 7 p.m. I also have a subscriber community, and this is where you get the monthly live calls. We also do a monthly wellness check-in. You get the master classes, and it's a much more intimate space for those who are, again, seeking guidance on going deeper into their healing journey, deeper into their spiritual journey, but also just the knowledge and information girlies or guys, humans, who just desire community in this time, desire a bit more structure. Also, got 2 retreats coming up. One in June in Tulum. It's a wild woman experience. So this one is for women only. It's 4 days of medicine, sacred dance. We're doing a psilocybin ceremony, hot-based ceremony. We're doing ceremonies inside of a cave. We're doing water rituals inside of a cenote. And also we've got a 7-day Lux retreat coming up in Bali, February 2026. This is a fly and free experience. This is for the elevated wild woman. And this experience is a 7-day experience where every single thing that you need is taken care of. All you have to do is book your flight. We're in a luxury resort where you literally press a button and coconuts are delivered to your doorstep. I'm not exaggerating. Massages to your room at the press of a button. Plant-based chef delicacies provided every single day, along with the healing aspects as well. Like, I could talk about the Bali experience.
No, I'm excited about that. So can I start putting my little payment? Are you doing a payment schedule for the 2026?
Yep. It opens January 24th. And yes, there is a nice payment schedule for you. Got almost an entire year to pay for the trip. But Bali is for the grown women. Bali is for the grown women, for real, for real.
So tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Purposefully Zenny. You can find me on TikTok at Purposefully Zenny. You can find me on YouTube, same handle. Also, my podcast, via Women of Tomorrow, A Moment with Zen. And you can also find me at www.zenoasis.net.
Yes. Thank you so much, love, for being here. This was a beautiful medicine for me today. I'm so glad. You know, we got to do part 3. We just do it once a year. Just get together.
We just have a beginning of the year powwow to talk about all of the changes and the things.
Yes. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you being here. And so, guys, it was amazing. I know. I hope you really enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.